Zombie games arriving in 2026 and 2027 are aiming for bigger outbreaks, darker worlds, and more intense survival systems. These upcoming titles focus on relentless enemy pressure, resource management, and immersive atmospheres. Let's get into it. Nature of Dread is a PC horror title built in Unreal Engine 5 that targets high visual fidelity through technologies like Lumen for real-time global illumination and Nanite for detailed geometry. The game aims to create a dark and unsettling environment using heavy lighting contrast, deep shadows, and environmental storytelling techniques. Its design aligns with modern high-end horror projects that prioritize realistic rendering and atmospheric tension, though detailed gameplay systems and story elements have not yet been publicly outlined.
Камень в руке моей. Близок великий день, день скорби и нужды.
Directive 8020 is a cinematic sci-fi horror adventure set aboard the colony ship Cassiopeia after it crash lands on Tau Ceti F. Players must evade an alien organism that can mimic humans while making branching story decisions that change character outcomes and endings. Gameplay mixes stealth movement, quick reaction sequences, and improvised weapons as the crew struggles to survive and determine who among them is still human, while multiple story paths allow different results based on player decisions.
Not one goddamn step.
It's me, please!
Better be a fucking alien.
Leave me out here, please!
The question is, what are you going to do about it?
The Forest 3 shifts the survival horror series into a sci-fi setting where players crash land on a hostile alien planet instead of a remote island. The game introduces futuristic weapons, advanced tools, and possible robotic companions while players confront mutated tentacled creatures and flying enemies. Early footage highlights stronger combat elements alongside the series' survival roots, with potential narrative links to earlier entries, though the extent of base building and crafting systems has not yet been clarified. Decrepit is a first-person action dungeon crawler built around stamina-based, Souls-like combat inside a decaying medieval castle. Each death resets the player in a new dungeon cell and removes carried gear, making knowledge of enemy patterns and level routes the main form of progress. Players equip one weapon, one staff, and one armor piece to define their build, combining melee and magic while unlocking shortcuts and confronting bosses deeper within the interconnected prison.
세이브 버밍엄의 크리에이티브 디렉터 차현성입니다.
안녕하세요. 갓세이브 버밍엄의 프로덕션 디렉터 신순욱입니다.
God Save Birmingham is an open-world zombie survival game set in a detailed 14th century version of Birmingham where players must stay alive during an undead outbreak. The gameplay revolves around managing hunger, water, and shelter while scavenging supplies and crafting tools across the town. A physics-driven system allows players to barricade doors, trip enemies, and manipulate objects during escapes, while the sandbox structure encourages long-term survival against constantly roaming infected.
We developed a guide that provides helpful information and natural progression goals when starting the game. The guide introduces the player character, setting, and premise. It serves as a tutorial that teaches the player what they can do and presents your character's thoughts and goals based on the current situation. You can think of it as a content system that fulfills the role of both tutorials and quests typically found in survival games. Next, let's look at what was developed regarding weapons and combat, which many players have shown an interest and given feedback about during the pre-alpha test. In the alpha build, one-handed blunt weapons have been implemented. These include clubs, maces, and hammers. Since they have no blades, they're not well suited to cutting off zombie limbs, but they are effective for attacking the head. Setting them further apart from other weapon types, they can also stagger zombies and momentarily hinder their movement. A wide range of tools will be included in this weapon category, from actual weapons like maces to everyday tools like rolling pins. We've also added a scythe as an available weapon in the alpha build. Scythes often appear as flashy weapons in medieval fantasy games, but in our game, they're actually an agricultural tool being used as a weapon. That said, it's a tool familiar to farmers. If you swing it with more force than you would when cutting grass, it can slice through a zombie's leg or knock them down. When we were creating the swing animation for the scythe, we referred heavily to real scythe handling motions used in farming. Objects in the game now have durability. If you use weapons or tools for a long time, their durability will decrease and they'll break. You'll need to stockpile materials for repairs or keep spare equipment on hand to survive. Durability also applies to locked doors and barricades. If you encounter a locked house you want to loot, you can kick or attack the door to break it open. Conversely, if it's your own shelter, you'll need to manage the durability of doors and barricades to prevent zombie intrusion. Weapons or tools that use blades now have sharpness to manage. If a blade becomes dull, it will be less effective for killing zombies. After spending the day scavenging and fighting, you can return to your shelter and sharpen your worn blades before going to sleep to prepare for the next day's survival. Based on feedback from the pre-alpha test, we've improved the game's aiming system so the player's melee attacks will now accurately hit the point your mouse reticle is aimed at. Combat in God Save Birmingham is designed so that the character strikes exactly where the player intends, and zombies react differently depending on which body part is hit. This encourages players to strategically choose target areas and develop precision in hitting those exact spots. Allowing the main character to precisely strike arbitrary points based on the player's aim in a third-person melee system with a behind-the-back camera and realistic animation has been a big technical challenge. This wasn't polished enough in the pre-alpha build, which resulted in a less satisfying combat experience. We've also kicked off full-scale development on the crafting system. To survive in a village overrun by zombies, securing your doors is extremely important. In the alpha build, the door system has been further enhanced. You can now lock doors with a latch, preventing zombies outside from simply pushing their way in. If a building has entrances you don't intend to use, you can fully block them with nails and boards to make your shelter safer. On the flip side, many houses in the village will now be found locked or barricaded. You'll need tools to either break or dismantle obstacles in order to get in and loot supplies, and it will take time to accomplish either way. We took our first steps towards a system that allows players to construct and place various survival-related structures. You can now build things like fire pits and drying racks wherever you want. Right now, only a few basic craftables and constructions are available, but many more will be added throughout development. Save Birmingham is a survival simulation game, where a key part of gameplay is managing the player character's health and related status effects. In the alpha build, we've further refined the health management system and would like to share the improvements. If you leave your wounds untreated, linger too long in a cold environment, or if your body gets too dirty, you may catch a disease.
Oh, God.
Diseases range from mild illness like colds that impose small penalties, to deadly ones like plague that can kill you and end the game. When your character is bitten by zombies or falls from high places, they'll take injuries that need to be properly treated.
Fuck.
Apply ointment and wrap wounds, and replace wraps until wounds heal. If neglected, your character may suffer severe damage from bleeding or infection.
Oh, God.
Your character will gradually become dirty during gameplay, particularly when they get splattered with blood from killing zombies or take a fall in a muddy area. To clean up, you can wash yourself in the stream or a basin of water. Neglect your hygiene for too long, and your character may catch a cold or some other infectious disease, resulting in various penalties. Save Birmingham is being developed with the goal of presenting a vivid, realistic, and intricate visual depiction of the player character's movements as they engage in various survival activities. This includes animations for things like wrapping and unwrapping wounds on various body parts, pouring water from a container to wash your body, chopping ingredients into a stew pot, and sharpening the blade of a scythe or axe. During the development of the alpha build, we've implemented a framework that allows for more diverse and detailed movement animations. We plan to continue expanding the variety of movement animations from now until the game's launch.
알파 빌드를 개발하는 기간 동안 저번 테스트에서 여러분들께서 남겨주신 피드백이 많은 도움이 되었습니다. 이번 플레이 테스트에도 참여해주시고 피드백 남겨주시면 저희가 앞으로 개발을 하는데 많은 도움이 될 것 같습니다. 감사합니다.
Canyons is a third-person action shooter set in a procedurally generated wasteland where players battle awakened enemies either solo or in 4-player co-op. The gameplay combines looter-shooter combat with blood packs that grant special powers, while giant crawlers act as mobile transport across dangerous regions. Players also construct and expand the Haven of the Covenant with facilities, recruit allies, and develop character professions, creating a loop of expeditions, base growth, and cooperative survival.
Please! Over here!
Ontos is a sci-fi mystery adventure set inside the repurposed Moon Hotel Samsara, where players control Aditi Amani as she investigates her father's cryptic experiments. The gameplay revolves around hands-on interaction with analog systems, scavenging materials, and solving layered puzzles that affect narrative outcomes. Players navigate an interconnected lunar facility filled with disturbing trials and moral decisions, gradually uncovering hidden truths while managing complex machinery and research-based problem-solving.
Your father thought he knew, and it inspired him to grant wishes.
Who's there?
Nightmare.
That's why all of us are here. You want to understand, to know. Then you have to step beyond the walls surround you. Play your father's game. Push the very limits. Until even reality itself.
That's 6 now. 6 survivors of Raccoon City, all dead from the same thing.
Resident Evil Requiem continues the survival horror series with dual playable characters, FBI analyst Grace Ashcroft and Agent Leon S. Kennedy, whose investigations connect across a new outbreak. The gameplay combines combat, puzzle solving, and resource management while allowing players to switch between first and third-person perspectives. Players explore dangerous locations linked to the Raccoon City incident, managing limited supplies and confronting infected threats as the intertwined story progresses through multiple scenarios.
He grabbed you for a reason. Did you find anything on Opus?
Not yet. Nothing on the servers at the CIA or the Pentagon.
You are an ignorant fool.
Leon, we're running out of time.
Why me?
The team has settled on a person of interest. A former T-virus researcher.
Because my master made you who you are.
Raccoon City was where it all began for me.
I'm coming with you.
We can talk. What do you want to know?
I don't want any more regrets. Whatever it takes, count me in.
It's been a while since you've been back there.
Yeah.
Silent Hill Townfall is a first-person psychological horror game where players control Simon Ordell as he returns to the island town of St. Amelia to uncover buried secrets. The gameplay revolves around tense evasion, limited combat encounters, and narrative-driven puzzles that gradually reveal hidden events tied to the town. Players use tools such as the CRTV Pocket Television to detect unstable signals while navigating fog-covered locations and managing scarce resources during dangerous confrontations.
I woke up in the water again. But this time it's different. I keep trying to fix what happened. But no matter what I do,
You can't fix it. It doesn't let us change things. You did what you did.
Valor Mortis is a first-person Souls-like action RPG where players control William, a resurrected soldier from Napoleon's army fighting through a plague-ravaged alternate Europe. The combat system revolves around precise parries, evasive dashes, and aggressive finishers, supported by supernatural powers that enhance attacks and unlock new abilities. Players battle corrupted enemies known as the Eternal Guard while navigating interconnected areas and uncovering story elements tied to the mysterious plague and William's resurrection. Ill is a first-person action horror game set inside a research fort overrun by a mysterious entity and its aberration creatures. The gameplay centers on realistic weapon handling, detailed physics interactions, and a visceral dismemberment system that affects how enemies react in combat. Players must manage inventory, maintain and modify weapons, and solve environmental puzzles while dealing with unpredictable monsters that respond dynamically to player actions and surroundings. Hunger is a PvPvE extraction RPG set in plague-ravaged Napoleonic Europe where players scavenge dangerous zones and compete against both monsters and rival survivors. The gameplay combines melee and ranged combat with long-term character progression, allowing players to level up, complete quests, and unlock skills through high-risk expeditions. Players can also choose crafting or gathering professions, trade in a player-driven marketplace, and operate from the social hub known as the Chateau while building persistent progression without forced wipes.
Death has judged us rightly, for we are but beasts, unworthy of salvation.
Cinder City is a third-person open-world MMO shooter set in a post-apocalyptic 23rd century Seoul, where players take the role of futuristic soldiers in a shared persistent world. The gameplay combines tactical gunplay, ability-based combat, and large-scale boss encounters across two main maps with instance dungeons for small teams. Players fight rival factions and mechanized threats while progressing through a narrative involving colliding timelines and alternate history events.
Arthur Bishop.
Displacement is a first-person action horror game where players control a psychologist investigating a polar station overtaken by a mysterious madness. The gameplay mixes melee-focused combat, sanity-driven character changes, and environmental interaction, with the player's mental state unlocking new abilities as it deteriorates. A dynamic temperature system adds survival pressure, requiring players to manage heat, manipulate objects, and solve environmental puzzles while confronting cultists and powerful bosses inside the frozen facility.
Dad, come back.
Beautiful Light is a tactical first-person extraction shooter, where 6 squads of 3 operators enter hostile zones to secure valuable artifacts and escape alive. The gameplay features PvP/PvE encounters against rival teams and player-controlled anomalies, with heavy risk tied to losing gear on death. Players complete raids to earn rewards, upgrade skills through an RPG-style progression tree, trade with vendors, and can also control anomalies to hunt human squads and disrupt extractions. The Florist is a classic survival horror game set in the lakeside town of Joycliff, where a deadly floral outbreak transforms residents into hostile creatures. Players control Jessica Park as she navigates fixed camera environments, solves perception-based puzzles, and uses a range of weapons to fight through the infected areas. The town changes as the infection spreads, requiring careful resource use and investigation to uncover the mystery behind the unnatural plan to create new life.
The newest co-op zombie shooter launching March 12, 2026.
John Carpenter's Toxic Commando is a cooperative first-person shooter where players select unique characters and form 4-player squads to battle massive hordes of infected enemies. The gameplay centers on team-based combat using firearms, grenades, special abilities, and revives while navigating semi-open maps filled with swarming threats. Players can also locate and drive specialized vehicles with combat functions, creating a fast-paced loop of coordinated survival, horde clearing, and mission-based progression.
Kato, Ruby, and Astrid. A bunch of criminals hired to clean up this mess, and maybe save humanity while they're at it. You'll blast through multiple missions, each in a semi-open world packed with zombie heads to blow off. Get ready to face hordes of those sludge bastards.
Fuck off over there!
Saber Interactive Swarm technology throws hundreds upon hundreds of real enemies at you simultaneously. We're talking endless waves of zombies running straight at your face. Adapt fast, work with your team, or just grab a machete and charge into the horde like the maniac you are. In Toxic Commando, every mission starts with a badass vehicle, and you'll need it to navigate these infected hellscapes. Each has its perks. Stuck in blood and guts-filled mud with more zombies closing in? Jack a ride with a winch to pull yourselves free and crack open locked containers loaded with ammo, weapons, spare parts, and fuel. Teams bleeding out? An ambulance is your savior and heals everyone. Check your map for available rides and switch whenever you find something better. We've got all the toys you'll need to blast these monsters back to hell. Pick your primary from 16 weapon types. Shotguns, SMGs, sniper rifles, you name it. Reloading. Secondary weapons like pistols back you up when you're running dry. When you're looking for brutal, bloody takedowns, melee weapons are your friends. Machetes, crowbars, all kinds of good shit.
Now this is action!
The really devastating gear like heavy machine guns and grenade launchers are hidden in missions. Explore and exchange spare parts to unlock them.
Finders takers.
That's what we need.
Choose a kick-ass ability for even more blood and explosions. Dominate in your own style by choosing among 4 unique classes. Strike for aggressive mayhem. Medic to keep everyone breathing. Operator for drone warfare and tech.
Getting my drone loose.
Or Defender to be an unstoppable wall.
Fences activated.
Stack your squad however you want. Run 4 strikes if that's your vibe. This game is built from the ground up for 4-player chaos. Use matchmaking or grab your friends in a private lobby. With crossplay, anyone can join from any platform. One last piece of advice, if you want to play Lone Wolf, you'll get swarmed fast. So rally your team, gear the hell up, and get ready for non-stop co-op zombie destruction.
Blight Survival is a medieval action horror game where players fight through a war-torn no man's land, either solo or in co-op with up to 3 others. The gameplay features directional melee combat against both human enemies and creatures created by the spreading blight. Players gather gear, customize weapons and talents, and decide whether to secure their loot or push deeper toward the source of the infection in high-risk missions.
Stop warming your balls and get over here! Hey, are you listening to me?
Sure, I am.
You're hearing me. You ain't listening.
Leave off, Granger.
Look at him, or I'll make you.
Boy, calm down, will you? Alright, I'm looking.
What did I say then, eh?
What's for the pain?
That's it. That painted armour. Bloody savages, didn't I say?
Yeah, you said it, Granger.
Get off him. What, you think he's got blight? Sometimes it's harder to spot, yeah? Gets in your veins first. Clogs up your brain. You're infected before you know it. He's dead. Poor bastard reeks. Probably dead for days. You're new to this. It only gets worse after they're dead. Makes you almost sorry for him. My ass doesn't feel too sorry. Keep looking.
bisa nyangkut sih?
Agni Village of Calamity is a cinematic survival horror game where players control Agni, an investigator from a covert Indonesian police unit who enters a remote village in search of answers. The gameplay combines resource management, puzzle solving, and tense combat where players must choose between fighting or evading threats. Players gather clues across Desa Purba, piece together the mystery of Agni's missing partner, and navigate fixed camera areas while confronting psychological and supernatural dangers.
Pak, tenang Pak, nama Bapak siapa? Saya bisa bantu, tapi tolong ceritakan dulu apa yang Bapak...
Sakit, hentikan.
Can you describe the sound in the recording?
Projekt Spectrum is an asymmetrical first-person shooter where teams of paranormal hunters enter Ember Zones to track and eliminate sources of supernatural corruption. The gameplay combines camera-based anomaly detection, traditional gunplay, and improvised crafting such as building silencers or trip mines from scavenged items. Matches also feature player-controlled monsters that actively hunt the human team, creating a mix of cooperative boss hunting, survival pressure, and competitive multiplayer encounters.
The loss is too heavy for you. But sometimes, loss can birth beasts and bury truths. What do you think? What if you are the beast?
The beast?
Parasite Mutant is a bio-horror RPG where players control psionic agent Nova as she investigates an abandoned city island filled with hostile mutants. The game uses a retro third-person semi-fixed camera and an ATC combat system that mixes real-time dodging with timed turn-based attacks through a 3-segment chain mechanic. Players solve puzzles, upgrade equipment with modules and plus points, and progress through a story-driven mystery while confronting increasingly dangerous creatures. Darkwood 2 is a survival horror RPG set in the scorched regions surrounding a dying sea, where players scavenge resources and uncover the mystery of a spreading forest anomaly. The gameplay revolves around open area navigation, crafting weapons, and preparing defenses before nightfall when hostile threats emerge. Players build barricades and traps to survive nighttime assaults, interact with dangerous factions, and make decisions that influence character outcomes and the unfolding standalone story. Never Be Alone is an open-world zombie survival game set 10 years after an outbreak, where players scavenge, build, and endure either solo or in seamless co-op. The gameplay includes base construction, crafting, farming, hunting, and vehicle travel while managing hunger, thirst, temperature, and power systems. Players encounter multiple zombie types and hostile human factions, upgrade weapons, and progress through skills and quests within a dynamic world affected by weather and day-night changes. Tiny Hero Courier is a fast-paced action-adventure where players control Rupert, a courier delivering packages across a miniature post-apocalyptic world filled with fast zombies. The gameplay revolves around carrying packages that affect movement speed, solving environmental puzzles, and avoiding or confronting enemies and bosses. Players also navigate an interactive world map, upgrade Rupert's vehicle, and handle special deliveries like fragile or explosive items that add extra risk to each mission.
Who were you before? Who did you love?
State of Decay 3 is an open-world zombie survival game where players build and manage a community of survivors in a landscape overrun by the Blood Plague. The gameplay combines resource scavenging, base construction, and character management with permanent death for fallen members adding long-term consequences. Players can work alone or in 4-player co-op to expand their settlement, secure territory, and make decisions that directly influence events and the direction of their evolving survival story.
But you helped us make something greater than the fear and death that surrounded us. We found hope in each other.
Help! I'm surrounded. They're everywhere. There's way more than I was expecting.
And even if we bought the other survivors just one more day, the sacrifice would be worth it. It would always be worth it. And that helped us find the courage to keep going, to fight on. When we needed it the most. I didn't know you well. But we'll keep your memory alive. Every sacrifice we make matters and will never be forgotten. No one is forgotten. We live on.
Sisters, daughters of Hortus, to these blessed halls of Porthbarrow.
Ritual Tides is a narrative-driven first-person survival horror game set on a remote British island where a lone survivor investigates the cult known as the Parish. The gameplay centers on stealth, environmental puzzle solving, and careful resource use, with limited combat and scarce ammunition increasing tension. Built in Unreal Engine 5 with photogrammetry, the game also features a gaze mechanic that heightens danger as players uncover secrets behind the cult's transformation rituals.
Change in plans. You shan't be entering the garden today. Take heart, faithful ones. The garden must still be tended. And tonight, you will be sown!
To Minova, everyone. This is a fictional place in Ardem.
Ardem is an open-world survival RPG set in a virus-ravaged environment where players gather resources, build shelters, and attempt to restore power to the fallen infrastructure. The gameplay combines base building, vehicle repair and customization, farming, and dynamic survival systems including temperature, hunger, and electricity management. Players can explore a large handcrafted map alone or with others online, permanently altering the environment by repairing structures, securing locations, and expanding their settlements.
And that meant that we had to create custom license plates for each individual vehicle, indicating that they belong to this place. As you explore this state, you will come across local food market ads and other commercial covers, indicating the previous life before the apocalypse. Back in the day, was this the land of opportunities? Couldn't be any further from it. But as you explore our handcrafted world, there will be signs indicating exactly as to why people never wanted to leave this place. Whether it would be leftover family-raised animal stock, abandoned acres of crops that would start from one side of the state and reach nearly to the other side. Because of the given setting of the game, players will have plenty of base building opportunities. The loot is specifically chosen on the area and the point of interest that the player would explore. Because the map is 64 square kilometers, the world in Ardem will still feel isolated and at times very quiet. But that doesn't always mean that you're alone.
Zeverland is a multiplayer zombie survival sandbox where players enter the early moments of an outbreak and use everyday objects to survive and rebuild. The gameplay emphasizes creative crafting, allowing players to combine junk items into improvised weapons while scavenging food, supplies, and materials. Players can cooperate or compete with other survivors, construct large-scale structures such as rockets or towers, and shape the shared world through building, resource use, and open-ended objectives.
The sun still shines. But for how much longer? Hey, Wilmorians of the future. It's your boy 01 here. I used to be a coder. Now I'm a farmer, canned food enthusiast, part-time surgeon, and a full-time Zed Slayer. Let me show you a day in the life of a survivor. I started the morning off by bagging a deer. The meat's good eating, the pelts can mend my coat, and I can even make its bones into a knife. Waste not, want not. Then I cut a whopper down by the lake. Mike threw in the potatoes and peppers he grew. Who knew you could feast like this in the apocalypse? This world's taught me one thing. Those who waste end up getting wasted. We built watchtowers out of scrap, booby-trapped the road with fuel barrels, and lined the walls with spikes. Good thing, too, because last night we had a swarm come for the North Tower. After one well-placed firebomb, you could smell charred Zed for miles. Some of them tried to climb up, but got hooked on the spikes. You ever hear a Zed scream? I have. A lot. Once we ran out of ammo, it was time to break out the weird stuff. Then the rain started to fall. That really got the Zeds riled up. Fortunately, we still had a few shocking tricks up our sleeves. By the way, the Doomsday Fleet just got a whole new look. We put a comfy chair and TV in the box truck, and threw some solar panels on top. Now, nothing will keep me from watching my stories. The fire engine got a new grill guard, mostly because we needed somewhere to dry our clothes. As for the taxi, we just hooked up a speaker system. It's great for parties. On our last outing, we only managed to clear out half the big box store. It was like Black Friday with all the Zeds in there. And we were cheap TVs. We still walked away with a huge haul. Most of us, at least. Do you think the Zeds still recognize old friends? But that's a question for another day. For now, the Doomsday Fleet rides again. I got too many Zeds on me. Help me distract them.
Roger that. I'm firing up the speakers. Rockstar coming through. Make way.
Nice driving. Can I get your autograph? Looky here. We got some fireworks.
Let's put on a show!
Hold on, I'm headed your way. Whoa, did you see your head just now?
Don't just leave it there. You can use that.
There's too many of them. We need to ride out of here.
Coming through! Guys, we got a really bad customer on our six!
Those fireworks!
Strap in, because I'm about to rock your world.
29 days since I became a Zed. You might think Zeds don't need to eat, but let me tell ya, the hunger's like nothing you've ever felt before. I thought I was done for. A bunch of humans took my arm off. Really ruined my day. But then I found a new arm, bigger and better. I pressed it into my shoulder hole. A perfect fit. I've become an apex predator. Other Zeds are just meat. Another new arm, new legs, a new head. I'm nearly complete. The animals of the forest, more meat. Feel so powerful, completely unstoppable. But how long can I live like this? I ran into an old friend yesterday, fresh meat. I tried to say hello, but he shot a firework at my face. So rude. But the colors were so pretty. It was like a music festival just for me. You look at me and see a monster.
Projekt Z Beyond Order is a first-person co-op zombie shooter set around World War II where players choose from 4 survivors with unique abilities and roles. The gameplay focuses on fast-paced missions, extensive weapon customization, and character skill trees that improve combat effectiveness over time. Players gather blueprints and resources during missions and expedition mode, then return to an upgradable hideout to craft gear, manage equipment, and prepare for the next undead encounter. Liminal Point is a classic survival horror game where players control Lyra as she returns to Ashen Point to investigate the disappearance of her bandmate. The gameplay emphasizes limited resources, careful inventory management, and tense encounters with hostile creatures across fog-covered locations. Players navigate areas using an isometric view, solve environmental puzzles, and uncover story fragments that reveal the mystery behind the island and the tragic events tied to Lyra's past.
Isn't that why you're here too?
Did you forget what happened on that night? This place remembers, and so do I. I'll be waiting, so come and find me.
They Left Us Here is a first-person sci-fi horror game where players awaken on an abandoned space station with no memory and must search for a way out. The gameplay revolves around navigating maze-like corridors, solving keycard-based puzzles, and restoring broken systems while avoiding threats. Players gather clues about their identity and the station's fate while evading a hostile rogue AI that actively hunts them through the facility. Shiver follows Hannah as she searches a frozen town for her missing sister during a reality-warping blizzard. The gameplay combines third-person combat using firearms and melee weapons, with environmental puzzle solving and harsh weather management. Players must prepare for extreme cold, navigate dangerous locations, and confront ice-formed creatures while uncovering the mystery behind the unnatural storm.
Cover itself up from the fearful cold. The shivering came more quickly upon me. I was losing my battle with the frost. It was creeping into my body from all sides. A good idea, I thought, to sleep off to death. Freezing was not so bad as people thought. There were worse ways to die. And I was right. There are worse ways to die.